to sing Grand Old Flag this morning. On page 122 of the songbook. Might be this. No, it is page 122, song number 80. Is the second one this morning? Sign up there. Grand Old Flag? Your. Okay, get your readers on. Here we go. Where is Jim? Jim Kenny, are you here? You have our invocation, Jim. All right, Mark, take it away.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time to be together as friends. We thank you for the camaraderie we share, united in our desire to help others. We thank you for all those that have helped in preparing the meal we're about to enjoy or have enjoyed. We thank you for this time together. Be with those that are unable to attend today as we go to and fro as well. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mark. Megan, good morning. Who do we have as guests?
We have three guests this morning. We have Marley and Jean, both guests of Nellie. Good morning, ladies. We also have our exchange student, Anna, who is here with us this morning.
Thank you, Megan. Herb, ready for you. We have a very esteemed guest here today. I don't know if you recognize this guy or not, but I threw him up on the video last week. Herb Klotz, our district governor.
So I had to think about who would be the best place to give this presentation and where would it be? And it's got to be in front of her own club. So what do you think? Do you think Cindy did a pretty good job last year? Well, you know, as a result of what happened last year, I gave about 50 talks, and in each one of those talks, I mentioned that last year our district had the largest net gain in membership in the Northeast United States. Wow. And that doesn't happen without a great leader. So congratulations, Cindy.
Something was fishy when he didn't tell me why he was here. But he should pay because he didn't sign in. You guys made me do it. So.
Okay, I have one more quick award. Steve? So this year, at our Purple Pinky, we raised over $60,000. And it was because of so many clubs that made major contributions either through the club and through the individuals in the club. So I would like to recognize the Emmaus Rotary Club for giving over $2,750.
Good? All right. Awesome. Uh-oh. Need batteries again. Broken. All right. So, can somebody flag Robert? Hey, Dom. Dom? Batteries are dead again. Uh-oh.
That happened again.
Herb, thank you very much. Everybody, really, this is impressive. And one of the things I want to say about Herb as being the president this year and following the DG, Herb, you are doing a fantastic job. Honestly. You're being transparent, and you're also, your monthly video is extremely helpful. I mean, it keeps, you know, when you get to the end of your month and you think you don't have anything to talk about anymore, all of a sudden Herb shows up on your laptop and you're like, hey, I have a wealth of knowledge to talk about again. So thank you.
I promise I'll be back next month and we'll talk about the video.
All right, thanks, Herb. All right, quick announcements here. We have a board meeting next week on the 23rd. Immediately following this, just as a reminder to everybody, board meetings are always scheduled on the 4th Thursday of the month. A lot of questions about that this time around because of where it fell. So just know that for all board members and so forth. We do have a very strong topic on the table that the board needs to make some decisions on, and that is the cost of breakfast. Our cost of breakfast here is going up. It hasn't been raised in a few years, and we are tasked again trying to figure out how to handle that. So I really encourage committee members, board members to be there so we can have a quorum and make a vote, and any other member that wants to hear the discussion of it, you're always welcome at a board meeting, and it counts as a makeup. Have you guys checked out Rotary.org in a while? I would really encourage you guys to do so. Outside of what we're doing here, there's a whole other world called Rotary International. Rotary.org has all the information, and I've been kind of popping in and out of it, and there's a lot of people out there called People of Action doing exactly what we're doing here. They're doing it all over the world, so it's a must-go. Just a reminder, Brookside Country Club is closed on January 30th and February 6th. Mike has scheduled 2 off-campus programs, both at 7:30 in the morning, correct?
We're going to keep the same time schedule. I was able to work that out with them. On January 30th, we're at 29 Cooks up on the top of Shimerville Hill. And on February 6th, we're going to be at the Wildlands Conservancy. We're just going to keep the same schedule. I think it works out better that way. I'll ask the people who are assigned to the table to be there by 7 just for help with setup and so on. But I think we're in good shape there. Phil?
My quick question, there's multiple buildings on that property, which one is it?
What, the Wildlands?
Yes.
It's the Environmental Science Center, the one up
Science
towards the
Center,
back,
right.
behind the barn.
Okay.
I'll put it in the newsletter. Megan, remind me to put it in the newsletter.
No taking.
Okay, very good. Just realized I hit the mute button. It wasn't the batteries. JP, can you give us an update on Wilmer?
Oh, of course, yeah. Okay, so I guess for those of you who don't know, on December 28th, Wilmer was out blowing leaves, and he tripped over the shingle bundles that the roofers left in his driveway, and he broke his hip. But he said, thank goodness he had the 28-pound backpack blower on his back, because otherwise he would have cracked his skull. So, as they say, it could always be worse. So, he's at Lehigh Valley Hospital. Last week after the meeting, Roller and I went over and saw him. Would not have believed the guy had a hip repaired a week ago. He was up. They had him with a walker. He was doing loops in the therapy room. So he's doing inpatient therapy at Lehigh Valley Hospital. He's in as good a spirits as you could imagine. He's supposed to come home, I think this probably tomorrow, maybe Saturday, I'm not sure exactly, and he's going to continue with his therapy at home. We offered to put together like an on-site meeting for him because I knew he was questioning the validity of the online makeup, but I think he decided to do an online makeup anyway. I don't know whether he's decided whether that fulfills his perfect attendance requirement or not. Of course, we know that it does. So he says hello to everybody, and he's looking forward to getting back just as quickly as he can. So keep Wilmer in your thoughts, but he's doing pretty well. 94 years old. I say it all the time, Wilmer's what I want to be when I grow up.
Thank you, JP. And Don, he had mentioned a Happy Dollar. He said he was going to do that during Happy Dollar, so make sure you collect his money. Guests. We we don't need bring a guest day to bring guests to Rotary. And I wanted to remind everybody that when you bring a guest for the first time, their breakfasts are for free. We treat them to that. Trying to get out of all the little things that really aren't talked about and discussed about a lot of times. But remember that. Hey, I'd love to treat you to breakfast at Brookside. So if you brought a guest this week, can you please stand? Hey, Nellie. Nellie, thank you. If you brought 2 guests this week, could you stand? Hey, Nellie. Nellie, thank you. I think I'm driving my point home. But please, we got some good stuff. This is going to be an awesome program today. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn how much the Rotary reach really extends. So it's a lot of fun when you get here. And I know, I used to get here and not have a guest and feel sorry that I didn't bring somebody because of a specific program or something. Okay, Peter's Wise Saying of the Week. I've received 2 more handwritten sheets, so I'm going to have to post these in the trumpet at the end of my presidency because I'm over 100 wise sayings now for Peter. I really like these this week. Being wise is better than being strong. I thought about that one for a while. And this one I really thought for a long while on. If you want to stay out of trouble, be careful what you say. Man, that's the definition of my entire life. Awesome. All right, any announcements from the floor this morning? Bob.
Well, last week, 2 people remembered to bring in tabs for you for the Miracle League. This week I came here and I was the second person here, and Santa Claus must have left this on my pack because the 3rd one. So I know there's about 74 more people that just forgot to bring their tabs. So bring them next week or the next week or whenever. Also, the saga of Peyton Halsey as a field hockey player has gone upwards. She has now made the under 21 field hockey team. 60 people, 60 girls tried out for it in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, 3 days of practice, and 31 out of the 60 made it. And they'll be going to Chula Vista, California in February for 4 days of training and a tournament. They probably are going to play Canada and Great Britain in that tournament. And then they're going to go the following month to Durham, North Carolina for another tournament. So she's now in the big time. If we can keep it going, she'll be in the Olympics whenever that time comes around. So I'm very proud of her and she's doing great.
Awesome, Bob. Thank you. Cindy.
I'm passing around the volunteer list for the food feeding for February. We do need a couple more volunteers for backup because Dee and Gary are going to be grandparents and they don't know if they can come every week. So last week we did it in 20 minutes. We had it so down. So it doesn't take a lot of time right after Rotary. The other news on that is that Jefferson has now increased their meals. They're now seeing more kids eat it and they're getting the word out. So it's expanding and our help is much appreciated. We asked you guys to bring sweatpants and kids' underwear. If anybody has them, give them to Karen or me because we're going to take a load over to Lincoln today.
Never really thought about the result of actually getting this exposed and starting to give these lunches to these kids. All of a sudden, other kids are coming out and saying, "Hey, maybe it's cool to acknowledge I'm hungry." Yeah, great work on that, you and Rick. Johnny, go ahead.
As you said, we're going to have 2 meetings off-site. We've been doing a reminder, a text message reminder service for the past 3 years or so, which has helped a lot of our membership. Remember that we don't have a meeting as Brookside is closed for 2 weeks every year, along with weather delays. I know some people actually ended up coming here when we had no meeting. So if you have not signed up for members that are brand new to the club over the past 6 months or so that has never received a text message, let me know. I'm going to send out an email after after this meeting with some additional information on how to sign up, and I would strongly recommend it, so, yes.
Thank you, John. Do you pay for that?
I do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yep.
Patrick?
So I've been asked to be part of a program with Jefferson. It's called Jefferson Reads. They're looking for additional volunteers. So I originally thought it was to go to the school and to read to the kids. It's a little bit different where they're actually going to record on iPhone, iPad, have a recording of you reading a book so the kids can be able to have somebody read to them at home. So looking for some volunteers, I think it's a great thing. A little bit sad, unfortunately, that everybody doesn't have somebody at home to read to them, but nice program. So Amy Snyder at Jefferson is putting it on. I'll get some information to get out to them.
I'll volunteer to read Honey Bunny, Funny Bunny. I can read that one without the book. Bill?
Particularly to the newer members, it's a program that this club has supported every year, and I just want to draw attention to it. Gwen Conference from the Allentown West Club does a Lehigh Valley Youth Leadership and Ethics Conference every year. If you've not been to it, it's not until next April and May, but she sent me a thank you letter. Our club, I believe, donated $400 to it. But for those members who are not familiar with it, even if you just go in the beginning, the opening speech that's given, it's amazing to see these kids, and it's all about ethics. And as I've said many times, unfortunately, ethics never gets present until somebody does something wrong. So a program that's encouraging kids to be ethical early in their lives is great. But just wanted to pass on the thanks to Gwen that our club again supported the event, and it was very successful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. David?
Yes. The Women's Award Committee wants to remind everyone that if you're going to nominate someone for an award, one of the two awards, you need to get your nominations in as soon as possible because that closes soon.
January 20th.
Thank you very much. Yes, Steve.
Yes. Roar.
Steve, just a comment. Mike mentioned that there's an off-campus for Cooks 29. It's up in Shimerville, but it's not called Cooks 29. It's called the Gather. In case you never been up there, you're not going to probably see Cooks 29. You're going to see something called the Gather.
It's a good point. It's the old shooting putt. So when you go up, there's the Shimerville, the Hendricks Furniture Store on the right after the light, and then I believe it's almost like the next entrance.
The old
Right.
Shimerville Drive.
The old Shimerville Drive-In. Yeah. Boy, you're really dating yourself there, JP. Mike?
Two quick program things. First of all, thanks to everyone who has sent me ideas and possibilities for program. I'm actually scheduled into March. I'm feeling pretty confident, a little cocky about this. By October, I'm going to probably be scratching, but right now I'm good. Number two, those of you that haven't done classification talks, I'm going to be reaching out to you very soon to start getting those scheduled, March into April, May, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Yeah, Tony?
Just real quick, there were also announcements today. February 13th is our speech contest, the four-way speech contest. So I need some help again to be judges, and there are a couple of tasks that I need help with to run that contest. So on February 13th at Emmaus High School at 6 o'clock p.m., so it's in the early evening this time. We do have quite a bit of, it looks like there's a lot more interest this year, which is great. And I think that's a result of making a connection with Jill Kubler, I guess is how you say her last name. She leads the spring musical and the dramatics department at Emmaus High School. So hopefully we'll have a lot more participation. And the regional contest is March 28th. So the North region that we're in, that's going to be at Willow Lane School on March 28th at 10 a.m. I'm going to need judges and help with that too. So if anyone is interested in those, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Also, great job on that, Tony. It's almost like we reverse now. We're getting a lot of kids, which is fantastic. Okay, we're getting close on time. Anybody else for Bryce? Did I see your hand go up? Okay, very good. Let's do the raffle. Nellie.
Hey, it's me!
You should go play the lottery today. That would be number 3. Award win-win.
Wow, I'm all excited. Who wants it?
Lexa's number 428.
All right, Greg.
Four, two, five. All right, good job, Wade. Sergeant at Arms, take it away.
All right, we're running short on time.
I tried.
Can't get any closer.
Elijah Yomi, you forgot a pen. Some people pay me for being late. I did not get the newsletter, so I have to check with you to make sure. Did everybody else get it this week?
Yeah.
I like to think, yes. Well, I got it before, so I don't see why it would not come this time. Anyway, I would like somebody to create a remote mute button for Steve when he's up here, so that we can just randomly throw it on and throw him off. I think that would be nice. Well, I'm just gonna go right to Happy Dollars. Cindy?
I have two thank you dollars. First, on Tuesday night, we, for the district and also our club is sponsoring a brand new type of club called the Passport Club that will encompass the whole Lehigh Valley under some of the Rotary rules. And I especially want to thank Rick Zayats and Gary Werbach, who helped a lot in calling people. And Rose King, we had over 50 people come. And the interesting thing of this, we called, in our district over the last 7 years, over 300 people have left 10 clubs in our district, have left Rotary, and we started calling them. Some people that have left our Emmaus Club came to the mixer, which is great, because we can contact them and use this to participate in our service event, mostly because they couldn't come to the meetings, which is really good. We're gonna get this going, etc. And last thank you, I hate getting awards, but the reason we got this is a lot because of the Emmaus Club, and I just want to thank you again, because our club is dynamite, and everybody in the district knows that our enthusiasm and what we participate in is there, so thank you.
I got 9 happy dollars. I was recently elected the vice chair of the Lehigh Valley Wine Society. We had about 1 people apply for it, so it was a pretty tight race. If you're interested in wine, join the Lehigh Valley Wine Society. It's a great place. We don't meet in the morning, we meet usually in the evening. I'm doing a wine tasting on February 9th. If you're interested, it's Sicilian wines at the Buffet Grill and something or other Chinese restaurant by Dorneyville.
I have 20 extremely grateful dollars. So within the past 2 months, my family has had a couple of health issues. November, I had shoulder surgery. I had a torn labrum that was fixed. And December, my wife had a mini stroke. Most of you do not know, but she's fine. There's no side effects, which is awesome. They ended up finding out that she had a heart problem. So last Friday, she had a heart surgery. So everything was successful. She is back at home. She'll be home for a couple more days before going back to work, but everything is good. Boys are healthy. My wife's healthy. That's all that matters.
I just wanted to reinforce what Cindy just said. I've had the opportunity to attend other clubs, and just the club activity itself, I gotta tell you, I can tell you this is by far the best club in the district, simply because of what we do in these clubs, not the rewards and that. The other clubs, and Herb's not here, right? He's from Allentown West, if you don't know, but we are by far the best club, and I've actually experienced it by attending other club meetings. So I'd like to reinforce that comment.
I'm very happy that JP has a roof over his head. Here's $2 happy dollars.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
One more, JP.
Karen's referring to the fact they finally replaced my roof from the hailstorm in May. I brag a lot about my kids, but in the interest of full disclosure, I give you the good and the bad. I'm coaching the 7th and 8th grade varsity boys basketball team in St. Anne's. Halfway through the season, we have yet to win a game. However, in our last game, we were actually up by 4 points for about 30 seconds before we ended up losing 31-12. So, I said, I give you the good, I give you the bad.
Thank you, JP, for the full disclosure. I really appreciate that. Today's program is something very special. We got lucky. I think we saw in the newsletter. On the cover of the Rotarian is, and there are 2 really good articles in here about Rwanda. And our speaker today just happens to be here to talk about Rwanda. Once in a while, you just get lucky. That's the way it is. Bill Whipple enjoyed a 22-year career as a clinical dietitian at Lehigh Valley Health Network. After marrying Jan Brown, the founder and president of Teach Rwanda, he retired a year early in 2015 to live in Rwanda and volunteer with her. Now that's true love. You retire a year early and go live in Africa. That is love, I gotta tell you. Bill is the Teach Rwanda business representative and acting treasurer, so he is a Teach Rwanda board member. Because of his professional background, nutrition is an integral part of Teach Rwanda's school programs. Introduce Bill Whipple.
I have some brochures that will be out there if you're interested in them when you leave. Let's see. Let me try this thing.
Put it down around the neck, Bill.
Around the neck, okay. All right, how's that working?
Great.
Okay.
Hit the mute button.
Oh, on this one, yeah.
It's the button on the right.
Got it. Okay, so I'm really excited about talking to you. You said it was true love that I went over, but I was missing such a really neat opportunity and experience that I also hated to be here when she was doing something really amazing, over in another country. So, Tuesday we get this email from a friend of ours in Philadelphia, and find out that Rotary's on has Rwanda on the cover. And it was really affirming to us because the article about the library, we live about 2 blocks from the library. It was opened in 2012, it was built by Rotary. Jan was actually there at the opening. The president's wife spoke. I'm a member there. So we, appreciate the library and we're involved in it. And then the drawing up here, NABU, it's an organization that used to be called Library for All, and Jan was actually on their board for many years. And one of the ladies up there is one of the ladies who goes to church with us. So we really felt connected and affirmed by this article. So I'm really glad to be able to talk about this amazing program that I'm involved in. So this is Teach Rwanda's mission and vision. Education is more than just giving textbooks or paper and pencil or even standing up in front of children and lecture. It's a holistic thing. It involves nutrition, it involves self-esteem, it involves doing things. And so our goal is to enrich children's lives and therefore adult lives by building the capacity of teachers. And we found that involves more than just running a school. So, getting this. All right, so one of our main I guess, tasks is advocacy, because what we're doing is totally foreign to what Rwandans are used to. They're used to a class where you have maybe 75 kids, 3 years old, expected to sit in a desk silently for 3 hours and memorize, you know, and then they have this big stick, which is illegal, but we still have pictures of teachers with sticks. But how else would you have 3-year-olds sit for 3 hours quietly? So what we teach is we have smaller class sizes and well-prepared teachers, learning materials. They teach the children with respect. The children know that this is a safe place to come. And we advocate for the rest of the government and everything. They have wonderful policies, but we advocate that they actually implement those policies and educate the people who are enforcing them, so that when they come out, sometimes we've been told we were doing the wrong thing, and we were doing the right thing, which is the new government curriculum, but they were still looking for the old methods. So there's a lot of obstacles still, you know, to getting to the goal, and so advocacy is one of our main things. We actually found that we could not educate people without having a place to show them what it was like, because we would be talking about learning by doing, and they would say, well, how can you do that when the teacher has a lab coat and is writing on the chalkboard and you're sitting quietly there? So when they come to our school, they say kids active and engage. They're talking with the teacher might be working with this student or this group of students and then moving around to other ones. So when they see it, they say, oh, so that's what it's like, learning by doing. And then they say, oh, I can do that. So we found that we have to have, so this is the school we started at. One of the teacher who founded this school called my wife and said, I'm a Jan, I started my own school, help. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, our time, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't that time hers. So that's how we, Jan, got started. And so we actually run this school so that we can make sure that it's actually happening the way it's supposed to be happening. And then people from all over the country and even all over the world come and see what we're doing. It's not, we don't bring in teachers from outside. They're Rwandan teachers and Rwandan children. And because that's our goal, is to build Rwandan capacity. So because we don't want to run schools, you know, we're educators, but we want to educate other people, then we partner with other schools. And so this is our longest running partners. The school is called Harmony. It's with the Rinkwavu Library and Learning Center. And that was actually the second library built in Rwanda. It opened a few months after the Kigali Public Library that you guys built. And they had a room for a preschool, so we educated their staff and continue to mentor them. So our goal is to build capacity of others. And let's see if I can figure it, yes, okay. Partners. And then we also realized that for this to continue, we need to partner with the education system. So we have talked to all of the institutions of higher learning up there. Most of them, their curriculum still reflects 40 to 100 years ago. Our first partner is this premier ECDE Teachers College, and Jan has revised their curriculum. That's actually a scene from her child development class. We have had a 4-month-old in our household, and so she brought the 4-month-old to class so they could see what children do at 4 months and then again at 6 months. And this was a totally new experience for her students, but they really got a good feel for what the real reality is of how children grow and change. So education is nourishing in many, many ways. We say we feed children's hearts, minds, and bellies. Because when children are respected and ask questions rather than told, what they should be doing when they have a chance to, when they know it's safe, when they know they're not going to get beaten. They're eager to learn. They want to come to school. One of the parents told us, what's going on? My daughter says, hurry up, Mom, we got to go to school. At 7 o'clock in the morning when they're getting, and that had never happened before. But the reason it's important that they love it is then they want to learn. So we don't force facts on them. We help them discover facts and guide them, and that's what really good education is. So then when they're active and engaged, they develop the skills that you need in today's world to analyze problems, executive functioning skills to organize and plan. One of the differences another parent told us says, my neighbor's kid can count to 20, but she can't go get 3 tomatoes. My kids can go get 3 tomatoes, and then they'll show the other neighbor kids how to do it. So they're learning it, but they're learning and doing it. So it's related, and that's the type of learning that they'll remember, for the rest of their lives. It's important for us to be culturally appropriate. This is Mary Louise, our 2nd grade teacher, with her class out at the market. And they're learning about biology, botany, nutrition, commerce, money, social skills, all kinds of things, and that's part of their lesson. And they, to do it there, and that's how they learn it. So that's why it's something that they can use. And then, of course, their bellies, and we're a little bit focusing on nutrition because we know that's one of Rotary's priorities is nutrition. And we know it's so important. Nutrition is part of the program in any school that wants to work with us. And 40% of all kids in Rwanda are stunted because of poverty, because of lack of money. We have 67 out of a total capacity of 190 who live in extreme poverty and would not be there except that we provide funds to pay for their fees. And some of them, one of the kids came in and he was about this big, and but he was 6 years old, and he had a little belly like that. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but that means he has protein malnutrition. So I admitted him because that fortified porridge may be the only food that he knows. We also had another instance where our 1st grade teacher was talking about one child. She says, I just don't know if she's ready for 1st grade. So my wife and the headmaster brought her in. They had her show her, how she was working with books, and it was age appropriate. Had her work with numbers and things. It was age appropriate. So the headmaster said, well, when's the last time you ate? The little girl says, I can't remember. So we gave her a big old cup of porridge, an amandazi. It's like a donut, but it's a round ball about this big. After eating both of those, she was out and she was keeping up with the rest of the kids. So, it's something we read about in the papers, but it actually happens, and you can see it if you know what you're looking for. So, what are opportunities for people to support what we do? And again, we're focusing on nutrition. That's just one of the components of education, but it's a very important component. And the porridge we use, it's fortified with vitamins and minerals. It's made from several different healthy grains. It's high protein and high calories, so they get a lot of nutrition for their buck. It costs about $2 per child per month. So it's not high, but so the kids that are on the scholarship assistance, about $134 a month pays for the porridge for all of those. This is another one of their lessons. These are our kids, and they're doing what they do in school. So they're actually helping cook the porridge, and they're learning weighing and measuring. They're learning cooking. Cooking is chemistry. They're learning safety around using things like that. This is, another area. We have some cups. They're a soft plastic that there's getting more and more recommendations not to use for hot foods. So to upgrade to where we had the hard plastic for the hot food and the soft ones for the cold. And this is the way that we take the porridge into the classrooms. And so to upgrade those would be about $620. These are different things that would support what we do. Even though Rwandans drink the water from the tap, we're told to filter it. So for the classroom, we have a small filtering system. It doesn't really quite keep up with it. We could use 2 more small filtering systems, which is about $60. We had a water harvest tank, and before we even opened, vandals punched holes in it. And we were able to use it for most of a year, but then we had a huge rainstorm, and the little picture on the right is what was left of the water tank after it finally gave way. And that's a larger expense. We have outgrown our classrooms. What was used as a kitchen last year is now being used as a classroom, and so this is our temporary classroom. Our landlord, we're partners with the Presbyterian Church. We're not a church school, but we're partnered with them, actually because the president's daughter was in our school and he could see the difference. And so they're our landlord, and we're working to raise money to get a building which would have a permanent kitchen in it, among other things. And cost on that's about $2,500. And then the other way is directly supporting the vulnerable children. Our Fund the Future is it's need-based. If people apply and we have space in the Fund the Future, we take them. And then if they can't pay the fees, the Fund the Future pays the balance. We support families. So if you have one child who's coming to Bright School and you have siblings, again, if we have space, we let them come. So we're not splitting up families with one child getting assistance and the other one having to go to other schools. Anyway, the total program's $30,000. We have about 14,000 of that already committed. But we're looking for bits and pieces, people or organizations to take a portion of that and fund it. So, okay, I know we were short on time. I think we're okay. Yeah. What questions do you have?
Suggestion and question. Could you provide information that can go out in the next trumpet as to who we write checks to and who we mail them to if we want to support this?
Yes, it'll be on these brochures. But also we have a website and we also have a Facebook page. And Jan posts on the Facebook daily, and it's pictures of what's going on in our schools, so you get a good sense of what's going on.
The question is, you mentioned several times the children viewing the classroom as a safe place. What's the society like in terms of safety of kids? You mentioned that several times. It must be a big issue.
It is. They have viewed beating as an acceptable way of child raising for centuries. The laws have changed. It's illegal, but the reality, we had a project, it was a puppet project with one of the schools here, and the kids made puppets and answered questions, what are you afraid of? About half of them said, afraid of being beaten.
By parents.
Yeah, right. So it's viewed as acceptable. Spare the rod, spoil the child. It's something that even here has changed mostly, but still there's some remnant of it. So it's a big education. They think that the children will go wild, but they don't. One of the grandparents of one of our children, he was trying to teach me Kinyarwanda, poor guy, but he said, my granddaughter is respectful, but she's not afraid. And to him that was amazing, because they think if you're not afraid, you're not going to be respectful. So, yes.
I want to thank you for your involvement with this important effort. Also, I'm curious, though, you mentioned about the water tank being vandalized. Can you speculate maybe why that would have happened, and if you were to get funds to replace it, can you take any efforts to decrease the likelihood of that occurring again?
It was really, I don't understand. Apparently we were almost ready to open, and there were some vandals on the property, and apparently the guards went to run them away, and they got in a knife fight, and I still don't understand why you would poke a hole in a big tank like that. But we just know the next day there were 3 or 4 holes in it. We've tried to repair it. Even with repairs, it eventually burst. I don't think we would have that. We're established. The guards are, we have 2 guards in the night and 1 in the day, and so I don't think it would be a problem.
I know you said that Rotary helped build a library.
Yes.
And I know we checked, there's some Rotary clubs in Kigali, the capital. What other Rotary districts in the world have you worked for other grant opportunities that are possible joint efforts, or have you not done that yet?
We haven't done that. We're a small and a new organization, and we really haven't done much in the way of grants. We have a small grant from a Rwandan organization to develop an outdoor play area. But that's something that we're trying to do, but we're just really in the beginnings of that.
So which Rotary built the library, the local Kigali Rotaries?
I would imagine, I have to check and see. We have had contact with one Rotary, an architect that my wife met was involved in it, and he said, you need to come and talk to us, but it hasn't happened yet, so, yes.
How did Jan get involved in Rwanda?
Well, she retired from over 50 years of working with teachers and children. I guess it wasn't quite 50 years at that point. And she didn't want to be bored, and so a person from Rwanda who was running an orphanage came and was looking for someone to start a preschool there, because she was converting it from an orphanage to a school. So she went over there, started that school. It's actually one of our competitors now, and came back and then thought she was finished until she got this call at 3 o'clock in the morning from Louise, who quit and started her own school. And then when she got there, there was just so much need, because she realized that Louise had 24 crayons and a mat on the floor, and that was it. So, the classrooms here, where you have books and Legos and different kinds of things, it just doesn't happen there. So, anyway, it just kind of grew little by little. Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
I'm going to just ask Bill one quick question. Can you bring the screen up one more time on how much it actually costs to feed these 67 kids? Was it 67? $2?
Yes, 67. At $2 a month is 134.
Okay. So you can expect a donation from Emmaus Rotary Club to help towards that. It's pretty amazing.
Wonderful. Thank
we
you.
all sit here and think of what we have, and it costs $2 a month to feed one child. That's amazing. So Rick had been firing up my phone about what we should do, and I think we can definitely get a couple months worth of food for these kids, and please let us know how else we can help out. It's a great effort, and thanks for everything you do.
Okay.
Mike has the brochures if anyone wants to get more information on that. And again, Bill Whipple, thanks very much. All right, everyone, if we want to close the meeting, why don't we stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance today? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Share.